Good morning to you guests, audience, and especially to our teacher, Mr. Raymond Ganadise. We are from Group 4, Team BSA Plus, and we are here to present our video case. First, before anything else, why do we have to learn operations management? Operations management is a fundamental foundation that supports an organization. It encompasses a large number of topics that would enable companies to achieve their goals, vision, and mission. Operations management is the management of systems in producing goods and services and the maintenance of the supply chain. Whenever managers decide on methods to make profits, to expand their businesses, and to achieve market relevance, operations management is at work. Capacity planning, facilities and layout, scheduling, understanding market demand, inventory management, motivating and training employees, and productivity are all part of operations management. Operation management also deals with costs. To mitigate, analyze, and speculate costs that will have to be incurred, managers use historical data to project and forecast activities and decide strategies, both long-term and long-term, that will be beneficial in improving the firm's efficiency. Especially in the 21st century, wherein globalization highly influences firms and companies to be more inclusive and borderless, organizations must be able to adapt to changes into their operation system to be suitable with their working environment. The advancement of technology also shapes the world business through the introduction of e-commerce and other inventions that make operations processes much more easier. Especially in the troubling times that we are in, management must review and reanalyze their operating processes. Businesses are created to make profits. Without the tools provided by operations management, the realization of those visions would not be existing. In this report, several companies and industries have been examined to apply certain operations management concepts. This includes the concepts of work design, learning curves, and inventory management. Without further ado, let us proceed to our first topic.
To start off, let's talk about work design. Work design is key in business operation. It is underscored by an organization's dependence on human efforts to accomplish its goals. In the group's chosen company, work design is focused on behavioral approaches, and the discussion of such will be tackled by my groupmate in the next slide. First, let's look at the company's production process. Jehan's Cosmetic Trading employs batch processing, wherein products are manufactured even before customers place their orders. These items are stored in the inventory in anticipation of small orders. Any bulk orders exceeding the company's normal production are made separately.
Now, let's take a look at the different staff positions in Jehan's Cosmetic Trading. Their main job descriptions are self-explanatory, so I will highlight their additional work. They have a sales manager who coordinates with the operations and finance managers for orders and purchasing, and the sales staff who also helps operation mostly with packaging. A finance manager who also acts as a cashier. An operations manager and the staff, which I'd also like to highlight, jobs are not repetitive as they have various aspects in the production to work on, and the staff also assists during delivery. They also have a driver who also works for production when there are no deliveries due. And then there are the pharmacists in the product development. It is then important to take note that coordination is highly important in the company, especially between the sales, operations, and finance managers. This is because job rotation and job enlargement are being done. As for compensation, it is based on the seniority and position in the company. The group, however, was not able to get data for their work measurement because of the pandemic. That is all for the work design.
Now we proceed to know the amazing abilities and capabilities that humans have in doing their work. That is The more repetition they do in their work, the lesser time required to finish and produce an output. That phenomenon is explained by the concept of learning curve. It shows a visual representation of how long it takes for workers to acquire and develop new skills to shorten time spent in producing a unit. However, it wouldn't work if the job that the workers have is a routine. Furthermore, the relationship between the labor hours per unit and production is established. It is also great to know that the learning curve will result to greater impact at the early stage of production, wherein the humans are new to their kind of work. However, in real life scenarios, a complex form of learning curve called the experience curve is used. It is the curve adjusted for inflation and other market factors, and it is integrated with the cost per unit and the learning rate achieved by the organization.
For the first graph that is shown in the presentation, it is a study done on an anonymous financial service company, and the study the study shows that the company has an experience curve for a large backroom paperwork processing unit. And this processing unit employs over 100 people and has little to no direct contact with external customers. And their pure, how can I say, external contact is with their couriers or their deliveries that for the documents that they process and for the documents that they produce. The operations objectives was to create a unit that reduces their cost over time and improve the quality and the output or the speed of their outputs. The research has stated that this is an ideal environment for applying the experience curves since there is little to no external influence for the company. Okay.
As what I have been discussing earlier, learning curves are about the relationship between the cost incurred and the output produced. So, what are the costs incurred by this company? First, we have employment costs, travel, transport, and courier delivery costs, office consumables, building occupation expenses, and other costs. And for the company, these are related to the documents processed, which are their outputs. The graph would be explained by Peter Magliari. Go on.
For the graph, in the y-axis, it is the index unit cost as stated by Jose earlier. This represents the cost incurred by the company during their operations. And for the x-axis, it's the cumulative volume or the numbers of units produced over time. As you can see in the graph, it's best shown as a straight line. And according to the study, that the graph would have shown a more, how can I say, a more curved shape. But however, during the end of their period, of the research period, the company has accepted an influx of new employees, and this might have fluctuated the company's results. For the second graph, it is the learning curve or the experience curve for British Airways. British Airways is formed by the merger of two state-owned airlines, which is the British European Airways or BEA and the British Overseas Airways Corporation or BOAC. Both of these airlines decided to conduct a merger, and this has resulted into one corporation or one entity called the British Airways. Sorry.
Now, as mentioned, in the learning curve, the costs incurred are correlated with the improvements in the overall output that the company is producing. For this instance, we have actually a unique scenario. The costs incurred by the company are employee costs, fuel and oil, marketing including commissions, operations including catering, accommodation rents, depreciation, landing and navigation charges, and engineering maintenance. What is unique is the output in which the overall productivity of the company is measured. It is called RTK, or the revenue ton kilometer. It is where the weight of its passengers and luggage are multiplied by a predetermined amount of kilogram, and the overall load is considered the total productivity or output of the said airways.
Again, as Jose mentioned, in the y-axis, we can see the unit cost per RTK. And in the x-axis, we can see the output of RTKs that British Airways has produced. Now, as you can see, what's different from British Airways graph compared to the financial service operation was that in the British Airways, you can see two line graphs. And the company has decided, or the research has decided to describe that those two graphs represent for the first line, it is when the company was integrating the two companies, which is Bea and Boac. And for the second line, it is when the company has been fully privatized. As you can see in the first line, though, what's interesting is that at the end of the first line, you can see that there has been an increase in the second line compared to the first line. And this does not follow the learning curves rule, in which as time goes on, the cost per output becomes lower. However, in the second graph, since there was a privatization, this has affected company operations a bit and has increased its cost per unit. However, since the adaptation and since the integration of the two companies, which is Bea and Boac, the company's employees and its operations have has learned how to efficiently produce their units or outputs, and this has resulted in a lower starting point, or like in a lower unit cost for the privatized company. However, at the end, you can see that even before the integration process and the privatized operation, you can see that both of the companies have ended at almost the same at the same point in the line, or at the same unit per cost line.
Most examples in the books and theories, learning curve always refer to manufacturing industries. However, the example we used showed companies that belong to the airway, or to be general in the service industry. The case study also showed the effect of privatization or merging of two companies, in which it highlighted the effect of the learning curve. As we can see from the graph of British Airways, when the two companies merged together, the learning curve suddenly shifted drastically above the graph. This indicates that the employees have to once again learn and undergo a repetition process to lower the cost that they incur to produce a greater output volume. Once again, this further proves the importance and effects of applying learning curve and experience curve in our operations. However, it is important to note that more information is needed when quantifying companies that belong to service industries. This is because a manufacturing or production process is much more easy to quantify and control, unlike the service production process. It would be costly to check and inspect every process that the company does. But then again, this does not limit the effect of learning curve in identifying what needs to be done to improve the overall production volume of the company. Now we move on to our next topic.
Next up, we will be discussing inventory concepts as applied in certain companies. This includes the EOQ, reorder point, quantity discounts, and the EOP model. The economic order quantity, or EOQ model, aims to determine the optimal order quantity that would require the lowest carrying and ordering costs. This is the point where these two costs are equal, as it is also when they are lowest. Today, we will be analyzing how Mell Toys, an Indonesian company, employed the EOQ model. One of the raw materials required in manufacturing dolls, one of their products, is dacron, a type of polyester fiber. For the year ended April 2019, the company needed 32,968 kilograms of dacron. Company policy dictates that they order 4 times a month, totaling 48 times with an average purchase of 684 kilograms and delivery lead time of 1 day. Holding cost is attributed to warehouse rental costs of 3,600,000, while ordering costs include a cost per order of 25,000. The company works for 295 days a year. The equation of the EOQ model is shown in your screen. The model dictates that Mell Toys must order in quantities of 3,885 kilograms of dacron to minimize costs. From the EOQ equation, we can also compute order frequency and total inventory costs. Should Mell Toys follow the model, they would order 9 times per year, incurring total inventory costs for dacron of 424,262 Indonesian rupiah. This is far below the inventory cost they are paying under their current ordering system, and thus it is recommended that they follow the quantity suggested under the EOQ model.
Following the figures and data of Mel Toys Company, to complement the calculated economic order quantity that seeks to answer how much to order, reorder point answers the question of when to order. The formula for its computation is simply the product of the annual demand and lead time plus the safety inventory divided by the total working days assumed. It must be noted that results will be accurate if demand is expressed annually. Furthermore, reorder point can only be used if the company employs a perpetual inventory system as they can keep track of their inventories daily. Now, going back to Mel Toys Company, the company does not have any safety stock, but it has an annual demand of 32,968 kilograms of dacron and a lead time of 1 day before order arrives. Using the formula we mentioned, at 295 working days, the company has to order every time inventory drops below 111.75 kilograms.
Now let's take a look at the quantity discounts. These discounts are employed by companies to encourage prompt payments or bulk purchases. For this, Mel Toys didn't mention any quantity discounts employed, so the group took the liberty to make a hypothetical situation. Let's say that a discount of 25% on orders 4,000 and more units are offered by a supplier. To gauge whether we should accept this offer, we will take a look at the net effect of 3 things. 1. Savings and reduced price. 2. Savings and reduced ordering costs. And 3. Loss and increased total holding costs of inventory. To compute this, we must first get the annual orders and average inventory under the economic order quantity and discounted order quantity. So for the annual orders under EOQ, we got 9 orders, and for the annual orders under DOQ, we got 8 orders. There is a difference of 1. Now, for the average inventory under EOQ, we got 1,943 units, and we got an average inventory under DOQ of 2,000 units. First, let's compute for the savings and reduced price. First, we get the price per unit per order, and that is 25,000 divided by 684. And we multiply that by the demand, which is 32,968, and multiply it again by the discount rate, which is 25%. We will get 301,242.69. Next, let's compute for the savings and reduced ordering costs. So we get the difference between the annual orders under EOQ and DOQ, and we will get 1 order. And we multiply that by the ordering cost, which is 25,000. Next, let's compute for the loss and increased total holding costs of inventory. We get the difference between the average inventory under EOQ and the average inventory under DOQ. And we multiply the difference by the holding cost per unit, which is 109.197, to which we will get 6,224.23. Now, for this, it has to be a positive net effect. If it's positive, then we take the offer, but if it is negative, then we will decline the offer. And adding it all together, we will get 320,018.46. Take note that we will be deducting the loss and increased total holding costs of inventory from the entire equation. And with this, our positive effect on the net income is 320,018.46. With that, we conclude, as Mel Toys, that we will be accepting the orders of 4,000 and more with 25% discount.
Next, I will be talking about the economic production quantity, or also known as the EPQ model. This is used to determine the optimal order quantity that a company should place in order to minimize inventory costs while balancing inventory holding and average fixed order costs. This model also helps managers in understanding the advantages to maintain the right amount of inventory needed to use in the production. To illustrate this, we will be using the data we got from Atlantic Pharmaceuticals Laboratories and focusing on its Class A item, suspension pyroneck. The data given are as follows. The ordering cost per lot size is 40. The annual demand for raw materials is 961,920 units. The holding cost is 2 rupees per unit. The company produces 3,855 units per day and they are able to sell 3,847.68 units per day. Additional information are working days per year is 250 days and interest rate that they use is at 10%. With these, we computed for the economic production quantity and we concluded that Atlantic Pharmaceuticals Laboratories must place an order quantity of 142,349.6 units to obtain optimal use of inventory for the production process.
Using various companies as examples for each operations management concept, we discussed all the topics included in the group video case report.
In conclusion, we can see the effect of learning curve in mitigating cost in comparison with its total output.
For the inventory concept of the economic order quantity, we identified the order quantity that would have the company incur the least costs.
Exploring the work design of the company can help with knowing the employees on a deeper level. Also, it is highly beneficial for the company to know just the right amount of order they should place to the supplier, and using the EPQ model will be a great help.
Work design is key to a satisfied workforce to improve productivity, and discounts are important for various reasons like prompt payments and bulk orders. And that ends our group video case report. Thank you for listening and we hope you learned a lot from our discussion. To formally conclude this video, we would like to say a few words of gratitude to you, our dear professor. It has been a great honor to be under your tutelage. We have learned so much from you this term and this course has been a wonderful manifestation of how all of our learnings regarding business and the operational landscape in its entirety interrelate with one another. I look forward to having you as our professor in other courses as well.
I've learned a lot from this course, and especially so because I always thought of how I can apply the concepts that I've learned in our own family business. It's been great seeing how other companies manage their operations in real life, proving just how our lessons extend beyond the classroom. With that, thank you for choosing to teach us, sir, amidst this pandemic, and for being patient with us.
I would also like to thank you, our dear professor, Mr. Raymond Galatise, for all the things that you have taught us and have given us. Thank you for being so considerate in these troubling times that we are in. We hope to see you again, especially when face-to-face setup resumes. And we also hope that you will remember us by then. Once again, thank you very much, sir.
Good day. Sir Galatis for this opportunity to learn DSIOPMA under you. And so far, I have gladly enjoyed our DSI classes. You made the classes for me to listen and were very considerate of my situation, even when I was auto dropped. I think you were the only teacher who reached out to me and looked for me when my class was auto dropped, and I really appreciate that. So far, sir, thank you sa lahat, and God bless. Stay safe for you and your family, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for being patient and understanding all throughout this course. You have been an amazing professor even if we are faced with a sudden shift to online learning. Rest assured, your efforts are recognized, and I will make sure to use the knowledge I have learned from your class in my accounting journey. Thank you so much.
We are Team BSA from DSIOPMA K33. Thank you and God bless.